Okay, here we go. What if we lived in a police state under a constant state of surveillance? What if there was what if there was no such thing as due process? And the right to a fair trial, judged by a jury of our peers, was merely a figment of our imagination. Use your imagination here. What if police officers weren't just allowed, but were required to execute you on sight if you even appeared to consider thinking about maybe committing something resembling a crime? Well, then you'd be a black man in America. Okay. But now, imagine all of that in a futuristic science fiction film where the police officers wear really cool suits of armor and shoot black and brown drug users in Max Payne bullet time style slow motion. Well, then it would probably show up in Jeff Sessions' Pornhub search history. It would also show up in theaters twice. In 1995 and 2012, because partner, I'm talking about Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd first appeared in comics, and well, that's about all I know about that. Then there was a 1995 film starring Sylvester Stallone, and the only thing I remember from that movie is Sylvester yelling, "I am the law!" But today, we're going to talk about the 2012 film. Today, we're going to misinterpret the passionately overproduced post-apocalyptic police power porn. We're going to talk about Dredd. Hit it!
Misinterpreting all the movies that you've seen. You might not have seen all the movies we're misinterpreting. That's alright, that's okay. You're really smart, and that's fair play. Misinterpreting all the movies that you've seen. You might not have seen all the movies we're misinterpreting. That's alright, that's okay. You're really smart, and that's fair play. Misinterpreting.
All right. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Who was not here last week?
It's me. I'm sure you guys had a vacation. I'm sure it's nice hearing factual information given to you in such a way that you could actually find use for it.
But
guess what? The honeymoon's over, bitches. I'm back.
That is right. You've heard correctly. This show marks the return of Joe after a brief hiatus, which was completely my fault after a string of technical issues, which I found particularly funny because I was making an episode on how to podcast. And
yes, exactly.
Everything went wrong.
But if that's not accurate to how podcasting, that's the reality of podcasting.
That's true.
So.
That's true.
Yeah.
You that's another lesson in how to podcast is you plan and you plan and you plan. And then the one thing or the 5 things you didn't plan for all go wrong, but you find a way to continue. It's just a matter of how bad do you really want to do this? Is this something you really enjoy? And
I mean, that'll tell you right there. If you hit a snag like this, or this happens to you a few times, because it's going to be an on and off thing.
Yep.
Obviously, if it's happening all the time, then you need to check your setup. But if this is something that like you go through it once and you just, man, I can't ever go through this again, then, maybe podcasting is not for you, which is totally okay.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. There's no judgment.
Yeah.
People are allowed to try something, not like it, and then go on with their fucking lives.
And that's why I said in that episode, I said, if this is something that you think you want to do, I recommend jumping into it with as cheaply as possible.
Yes.
Because I don't know about everyone else, but I can fall into that trap of getting on YouTube and seeing these YouTube instructionals with people using this gear that costs thousands and thousands of dollars and thinking, well, I can't make a podcast because I can't afford that.
Yeah.
Or if I do have the money because I get my tax returns, then I end up wasting it on stuff that I never use because I end up not liking it. So you don't need very much to start. Just do it and decide if you like it. And when you run into these snags, if it makes you want to quit, then at least you're not losing money when you stop doing it, and that's fine.
I mean, for God's sakes, I do it out of the dungeon basement of a room I have. So
yeah, yeah. And I wish I should really do one day a video. Maybe I could do this for the Patreon. A video of my video setup and how I'm just sitting in the corner of a room here, because my setup is not the best setup, and.
Oh, your setup is not the best setup with your cameras and your multiple microphones and your MacBook.
Listen, you don't know what it's like being me, okay?
With your very well decorated wall.
Yeah, I did that myself, by the way. I'm pretty proud of it.
Yes, I got a sheet, motherfucker. That's a sheet. It's a black fucking sheet from Walmart.
But that's the thing, like, I don't want people to get the idea that like you need thousands upon thousands of dollars. Like I said, like I mentioned this in the other episode, but a lot of my equipment is pretty expensive. But I did the research and figured out the areas that I wanted to spend the money in and the areas that I wanted to skimp in. And
you had stuff lying around.
And I had stuff that I accumulated over the course of over the course of like 10 or 15 years. That's stuff that just happened to be lying around, and I just figured out a way to make it work. And the stuff that didn't work, I decided I couldn't make it work for the podcast. I sold it on eBay to get money to buy things that would work. So you can do it. It's just a matter of how bad you want to, and you don't know how bad you want to until you actually get started and try it. So
yeah, simple as that.
Yeah. Also, I want to mention something else before we get going forward here. Is I think I should call this the beginning of season 3. Because I don't have any hard and fast rule for what the seasons are. But the last time I went from season 1 to season 2,
wasn't that your nickname at one point?
My nickname
is... sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Season 3?
No.
I know. Don't worry. I have plenty of hard and fast jokes coming up in the script. Don't you worry.
I'm looking at one right now.
So I think that when I went from season 1 to season 2, I had made some changes in the format of the show, and they were pretty like, in my opinion, major changes. And now I'm going to make another major change, so we'll call it season 3. And
honestly, I have to say the quality in the second half of season 2 has gone down. Your just choice of a guest host, or not a guest host, a co-host, really just bringing the show down. I think you should, less jokes, shorter episodes. I mean, who really needs a 2-hour episode of anything?
Let's be super serious. Let's be super serious. I do say oh dear, I do say indubitably.
Damn it, I wanted to do that.
I got the indubitably first. But I think that for this season, the reason why I said I wanted to make this season 3 is because I'm making another somewhat major change in the format. And I actually had to write it down here. We're going to do different segments on the show now. So I'm going to set aside time, and I'm going to set a timer so that, we know how long we're taking on each segment. But we're going to have an intro. We're going to have a news segment. And then we're going to do the misinterpretation of the movie segment. And then we're going to do shout outs, and then the episode is going to be over. We're also going to have movie trivia. So, for the beginning of season 3, the next segment coming up is going to be, and every episode is going to have the same kind of format. We're going to have a news segment. And Joe, I know that you had sent me some news stories that you wanted to discuss. And this is going to be the segment where we do the news. And I don't have any news music. So should I just use, I haven't downloaded any new news music.
I could offer some music. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep.
Okay, I'm gonna use a song I already have. How about that?
Okay, fine. Wow.
I could use.
Wow, Tyrice.
This will be good. No, I think this. I like this. I like this song a lot, and I think I want this to be the news music.
This really be used for like a lot of different.
It
things.
Has, and I was gonna download some more music, but I never got around to it. So for this episode, this is going to have to be the news music. But before we get to that,
Okay.
I'm going to try something new. And this is going to be useless movie trivia. And it's really...
All right. The only thing I'm good at.
I don't know if you'll get this one. So I'm going to ask you guys a useless movie trivia question. And if you're listening and you get it right, you win absolutely nothing. But you can just something to consider while
As in life.
You win and you still get nothing. And Joe, if you know it, you also get nothing. But you'll get a virtual pat on the back. I'm gonna ask the movie question, and then after the news, I'll give you the answer, and then we'll go into the misinterpretation. How's that sound?
Yes. So that means if you're writing it in, if you're writing in the comments, also please like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. Okay, I feel like a sellout for today.
But where should they describe on YouTube?
Don't cheat.
Yeah, or cheat. Whatever. I don't care. You can Google it. Like, what are you winning? Honestly,
God, I was trying to have like an honor system. Well, like even cheating was better than like waiting until we announce it. Like,
yeah.
Don't sit there and just wait till the moment we announce and type it in, because you're gonna make yourself sad. You're gonna make your mom sad. You're gonna make your ancestors sad. Don't do that.
And just so you know,
or deal whatever. If you control you.
If you do that, I won't be angry. I'll just be disappointed.
Tyrice, wait a minute. I need to say that I'm the dad on this podcast.
Okay. Go ahead.
Look. You didn't wait. You didn't actually do the work. You just waited and then heard it. And I need you to understand. I'm not mad with you, okay? I'm not mad.
You're not mad?
Just disappointed in you.
What? Aren't you going to ground me? Take away my PlayStation? Something?
No. Just you go ahead and do what you're going to do. I'm just going to go sit in my chair and just... thankful.
Goes in room and cries for 5 hours that I disappointed you.
Yeah, exactly.
So here is the useless movie trivia, and this one is related to the movie that we're discussing today, which is Dredd.
Wait a minute, I brought a prop for the movie. Arm, motherfucker.
It's very appropriate.
Yes, thank you. Except that, holding this, I would get shot, so.
Probably. Holding anything, you would get shot. You can hold a cell phone and get shot. But anyway.
Wait. Even a wallet?
Even a wallet. So, by the way, before I get into this
has taken a darker turn than Wesley Snipes hiding in the closet.
oh wait, it gets darker. Wesley Snipes hiding in a closet at midnight. This episode gets darker. But before I get into the movie trivia, I just want to say that I don't know how this looks on. I won't know how this looks until I get it on my computer. But the frame rate on your end has dropped a little bit, so you're a little pixelated.
Oh no!
But
no,
it's okay. It's fine.
Is it just me or is it the background?
No, it's
I actually have the.
It's you.
It's me.
It seems like your bandwidth, like your connection slowed down. So like it's either yours or mine. The connection slowed down, so it's like lower resolution, if that makes sense. But it's totally fine. It's not anything worth worrying about.
That's okay. I'm good.
What was that?
Nothing. I said I'm good on the low end.
Okay. I see where this episode is going. And you know what? I'm going to let it go there. So, movie trivia. The slow motion sound effect in Dredd was based on a song that had been slowed down 800 times. What artist recorded that song? So, what artist did they steal that song from, or did they use to make the slow motion sound effect?
I'm just gonna take a wild guess.
Okay. You'll get one guess, and then when you get it wrong, I'll give you the answer. I'll let you guess again after we do the news, and then I'll give you the answer.
You just assume I'm gonna get it wrong.
You will get it. You will get it wrong. You will absolutely get it wrong.
You just assume.
I am 100% certain. All right. What's your guess?
Wow. Seal.
That's the incorrect buzzer, by the way. That's when you get it wrong. Not Seal. Good guess, though. But wrong. All right, so let's talk news. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
All right, let's talk news. And
All right.
go. I know you had a news story that you wanted to tell me, and because I didn't write any down, I'm gonna let you take the reins on this one and go with the news. We can talk about whatever news story you'd like.
So this is the group project where you just sat back and said, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah, pretty much. I am LaShawn McCoy winning 2 Super Bowls. And if you don't get that reference, then Google it, because it is a sports reference and you may not get it. But Google it and you'll understand.
I don't get that, but I don't have time to Google during the news.
Yeah, no.
So,
But when you listen back, you can Google LaShawn McCoy's 2 Super Bowls and his 2 rings that he's got, and you'll understand.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's start off with some positive, happy news.
Oh, I like that.
So, I don't know if anyone knows, but I am a big anime fan. Nerd. What? Who said that? Anyway.
I know nothing about anime, so I'm going to text my friends while you do that.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
This seems oddly appropriate and just like real life.
I'm going to pretend to listen, but I'm really just going to ignore you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, any fans of the show My Hero Academia would be happy to know that on the 27th of this month, My Hero Academia comes back for season 5. This is not looking good in the camera. It's hard to focus something in the camera.
Well, if
you
it
know
makes
what? You guys can look it up.
If it makes you feel any better,
you guys have internets.
The resolution is so low they probably can't see it anyway. But carry on.
Anyway, My Hero Academia comes back for season 5, and I'm super fucking excited about it. So
one day I'm gonna have to get my anime knowledge up and actually check out some of the stuff.
there are things. That was gonna sound bad. Maybe I don't want to say. Like,
Oh, say it.
I was gonna be like, there are things that I can. I was gonna be like, there are things that I can show you that I think you'd really be into.
I've been told that a lot in my life. It never ends well. Anytime someone tells me that, it's never a thing that I'm into.
Usually does. Usually doesn't. Usually
Not gonna fall for that again.
For the 18th.
For the 18th time. Fool me 17 times, shame on you. Fool me 18 times, shame on me. Not gonna fool me again. Anyway, continue.
All right, so continuing. This is a news story per se, but I'm just gonna throw it in the news because it's something I want to get off my chest, and it's actually somewhat relevant to the topic for tonight. But we'll get into the topic for tonight later. But there was a posting I came across that was basically talking about, why don't we ban rap music? It's way more racist than syrup or rice.
So for
And just now, how I had needed like take a deep breath. That's exactly how I felt like upon reading that.
So I'm gonna take a second to go over that again for 2 reasons. I'm gonna explain to everyone what that was in reference to, and then I'm going to repeat what you said in case anyone didn't hear you because the connection is bad. We're not gonna let technical issues stop us this week. This week we're gonna fight through it and we're gonna just power through. But so that was in reference to. For
a second there, I thought you were gonna go into the Dean Howard thing. No. We're gonna fight through it. We're gonna do the.
No. Yeah. Remember the good old days when that was enough to like disqualify someone from a presidency? You know?
You mean just insane rambling?
Yes.
Those were the days.
And oddly enough,
were the days.
Oddly enough, we're going to talk about the presidency in today's script. I swear, you're like touching on all the stuff. Well, that sounded bad. You're touching on all the stuff that I touched on earlier tonight. All the stuff I touched on when I was.
No.
You're oh,
it doesn't even work. It's broken now. Great.
So when this person was referring to when the Aunt Jemima name was changed to it was deemed racist, and they took Aunt Jemima off the syrup and changed the name to Pearl Milling Company, which sounds just as slavish. But
sounds like a plantation.
yeah.
It sounds like a straight up fucking plantation.
Sounds just as slavish. Like they changed the name from a slave to where the slave worked. Like anyway, and this person said that, and in case you guys didn't hear that, because Joe sounded like a robot in certain parts because of the connection issues, someone had posted via social media. Go ahead and read it back again.
I wasn't actually reading. I was doing that from memory.
Oh.
But okay. So now you want me to read. Oh Lord.
We're allowed to now.
Read.
We're allowed to read now. It's okay.
Wait. Oh, I don't have to keep it a secret.
Yeah, it's not like we're working a shift at the Pearl Milling Company.
I feel like I can like hit the button that opens the secret library.
Right. Just don't let Master see.
Okay, so are we banning rap music yet? It's a lot more racist than pancake syrup or rice.
Okay. Now,
every time I'm just like, need to just take a breath. Just, yep. Yep.
In the words of everyone on the internet, go off. Do you need me to change your music, or do you want to save your anger music until you
I don't know.
Do you need some more? Do you want to be angry now, or do you want to save it?
I guess I'll be angry now, but I don't think I need the music.
Okay. So this is actually testing your range. Be angry while this is playing.
Ooh. Somehow that makes me angrier.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like that comment is super fucking racist in itself, because like, what exactly, you have to break it down to what exactly are you implying with such a statement.
Mm-hmm.
So no one said syrup was racist.
Mm-hmm.
No one said the act of pouring syrup on a delicious, big, fluffy stack of pancakes. You shut up. Just let me envision what I'm envisioning.
Hey, have your flapjacks, man. Have your flapjacks. Don't let me interrupt.
Damn straight. Just buttery goodness. But no one said the act of pouring syrup on that was racist, or no one said anything about like burning rice, as most of us did, or like having the rice stick. I cheat now. I use a rice cooker because
yeah.
And who's got time for that shit? No. I hit the thing, it does it for me, and I just scoop it out. Fucking test.
I support you.
Let's
I support that 100%.
Just I don't have anything to prove to anyone when cooking rice. But no one said literally like the syrup or the rice was racist. We're talking about the name. We're talking about names and imagery and things associated with that. And that's gonna bring me to another point, but I'll make that in just a moment.
Okay.
But then to say rap music is racist. So how exactly is rap music racist? You can't really say rap music is racist unless you're saying that it's degrading people, like it's degrading black people or minorities, because anyone can be prejudiced. Racism comes from a stance of power. Mm-hmm. You can't, I could, if I hated Hispanic people, I wouldn't be racist to them. You could say it was racist and because I'm viewing them on race, but it would be a prejudice because I cannot change or affect the life of any Hispanic people in any real way, like any like systematic way.
It's like it's a question of I always say this to people when they talk about, people have asked me, and they've asked me, do I believe that black people can be racist? And I say, well, anyone can be racist. It's not like anyone can be. But when you talk about racism, you talk about it. Just talking about racism isn't enough. You also have to consider what effect does that racism have, and when is it more dangerous, and when is it not. And that, in my opinion, racism is never okay. But if a group doesn't have power, doesn't have social power, then that racism isn't as damaging as a group that can take their racist beliefs and put them into law. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know about black people being racist, get them in the power and see what happens. You'll get your then.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the answer that you really want.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
But yeah, not likely. But so I don't see how rap music can really be racist unless you're basically saying rap music perpetuates stereotype. But the thing is, who is the stereotype? What stereotype? Whose eye is the stereotype? Oh God, it sounded great. Who is the beholder of the eye that the stereotype is being seen through? There we go. That wasn't too bad. But because black people aren't going to be just like, oh man, like, them black people listen to rap music. Sure, we're making rap music to sit there and talk about just how we're the worst race or whatever. Like, it's the imagery, it's the connection that someone else outside of our group, outside of our race, whatever, is seeing based on their own predetermined biases against us. So rap music wouldn't be racist. It's the people who are judging it to say that this is what black people are the racists. So you can't blame rap music for that.
And I would also like to say,
I don't blame butter or not butter, but I don't blame syrup or rice.
Yeah,
racism.
That reminds me of the I don't want to talk about it. It'll get us off topic. We'll save it for a bonus episode, but it involved butter. Also, I would like to point out that I would like to ask this person, what is his favorite rap artist, or name 5 rap songs, or name 5 rap artists. So tell me about this genre. And I don't want to get too much into it because that's what the topic of the show is going to be about. But there's that. But there's also, while you were talking, I did a Google search for song lyrics. And there's a band that I know you've heard of called Cannibal Corpse. And Cannibal Corpse has a song called Meat Hook Sodomy. And the first 2 lines of the song are, dead bodies give me pleasure on the dead carcasses of young children. But your issue is with rap? If we're gonna judge an entire people based on music, why aren't you judging yourself based on Cannibal Corpse? I don't understand. Because the issue isn't really the music at all. It's that you're racist and you're like, oh, I have an outlet to express my racist beliefs, and I'm gonna complain about rap music even though I myself am racist. I'm gonna just project this onto someone else.
Oh yeah. You don't see me blaming Canada about Nickelback, so.
Hey man, is this a safe space?
I am dating a Canadian, so
okay.
choose your words wisely.
No, I was gonna say I actually listen to Nickelback.
This ain't a safe space no more.
What happened? I thought it was a safe space.
Nope, not anymore.
I thought it was safe. Oh man. Well, I do listen to, I don't know. I listen to Nickelback because I can admit that Nickelback doesn't make good, like in my opinion, they don't make great music. And anyone who hates Nickelback, I get it. But their music is so predictable and formulaic. It's like watching a rom-com. I know how it's going to start. I know what the middle's going to be like, and I know exactly how it's going to end. And sometimes that's all I want. So I turn it on as background noise. I lower the volume, and I'm like, all right, we're going to listen to Nickelback today. Cool. That works.
Okay, I guess I can get that. I guess I can see that.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
But the one last point I wanted to make about the whole thing, about especially about the idea that the changing the name of Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, black people didn't ask you to do that. That was white people deciding, oh, this is a good show of faith, and not necessarily addressing the actual issues, but just like, hey, if we do this, will this placate you into dropping the issue? Black people didn't say, hey, you need to change the name of this syrup. Hey, you need to change the name of this rice. Look, Uncle Ben has been on the rice for I don't know how many years. Mm-hmm. But the only thing I think of when I see Uncle Ben rice is all of the Spider-Man memes I've seen of cosplayers laying around by a box of Uncle Ben's rice going, no!
I love those memes, by the way. So the other news story that I wanted to mention, but I don't really know enough about it. I've been so busy with podcast stuff that I haven't even looked into it. Was the doctor? I
just didn't feel the need. I was just like, y'all just go off and do whatever. Just like, once again, this isn't something that we necessarily asked for.
Yeah,
we didn't decide this.
And over the course of my day, I'm not spending my time looking this stuff up. And a lot of times I purposely avoid it because I'm like you, all right, whatever. Like, I don't care. But it's the Dr. Seuss thing. And I don't really have any comment on it because it wasn't really on my radar at all. Yeah. Do you have anything to share about that?
Well, so we'll make this quick and then so we can move on. But the only thing I really want to do is, and we will post a link up for this in the notes for the show. But there's a writer that I follow on Twitter. His name is Michael Harriot. He writes for like Very Smart Brothers and like The Root online. And he had this story. So I'm going to basically read you the first tweet.
Okay.
But then I will let, the audience read themselves because I thought this story was kind of just amazing.
Yeah, I'll definitely I'll put the thread up on underneath the I'll put it up at the streaming and then the YouTube and all that. I'll put it up because you're right, it's really cool. But go ahead and read the
So this is from Michael Harriot. Excuse me, that was a burp. That he did not tweet a burp. I'm just letting you know, just in case. It's Twitter. People are weird. I've tweeted some weird things, but let's move on. I think I may know why white people are so upset about this Dr. Seuss cancel culture thing. I'm reminded of this story today. It goes back to the second most devastating day of my life. The day I found out the Hardy Boys were white. A thread. And to kind of summarize, his mom did something that was kind of amazing. Ironically, I don't know if anyone's watching WandaVision.
I'm watching WandaVision. I'm all the way on episode 2. I know there's so much you want to say, and I'm so sorry.
I want to fight you right now. Because why are you only on 2? Well, there is so much I want. I can't even share my memes with.
I saw the one meme.
We're going off topic.
I saw the one meme that was Vision trying to log into his Google account, and the box that says, "I am not a robot."
That was amazing. That was amazing. There's so much more I want to.
I'll get to it. I promise. I'll get to it. I promise.
Another day. This is the. Back to the safe spaces.
I still gotta get to Lovecraft Country. Okay, go ahead. Safe space. Okay.
That's black, motherfucker. You damn sure better get on that.
Oh my gosh. By the way, I think we just named your podcast. That's black! Exclamation point.
For those who don't know, Tyrice is pushing me to go ahead and start my podcast.
Yes.
And I sent him a few names that were funny. I still haven't decided completely on the name.
I'm gonna flag this.
That may go to the list.
I'm gonna flag this so I can just isolate you saying that's black. or that could be if you don't take the name for your own podcast, I'm gonna take it for a segment on this podcast.
That could be a tagline for this.
But anyway, continue.
we need a sound bite of that. Actually, that's what we need.
Yeah. When we're done recording, you know what? Actually, you know what? Here, let's do this. I'm gonna turn down your music. I'm gonna flag it, and just go ahead and say it.
That's black, motherfucker.
And I'm gonna flag it again. Turn your music back up. I will isolate that when I go to edit this podcast. Anyway, continue.
I almost forgot where I was going with that. But basically, his mom did almost like a real life WandaVision, creating her own world thing. Because what she did for her son and his sisters, was she wanted them to experience being black outside of the view and gaze of whiteness. So to explain what that kind of means, there's a lot of ways that, and this may be hard to understand, if you're not black, and this is something important to consider. But when you grow up black in a world and everything that's predominantly white, with white being the default option, this is one reason why representation is so important. White people can be seen as a myriad of things. You literally have you're customizable if you want to put it into game mode. You can fully customize. Imagine this is Tekken. You can fully, but with this, you can fully customize your own character the same way you'd be able to do on, say, Cyberpunk or something like that, or like an RPG. Just really get in there and customize and make the person exactly who you want to, because you have so many things that you're able to pick from. And then if you're black, you're Eddie, because that's it.
Yep.
That's it. That's this. Who else? Who are you gonna be? You could be king. You could be king, but that's saying something, because you have to pick between a black person or half man, half animal.
You could be,
and that's a commentary we are not get into today.
Yeah, you could be Jack, but they made him. He could be anything, but he's white. You could be Jack too, but they made him white as well. You could be. Who else could you be? But yeah, you could be Eddie, the dancing Jamaican black man.
Yep. But so basically what she wanted to do was have him the same way that white people grow up in a world that you're the default, so you have all of the options available to you. She wanted to give him that same kind of experience growing up, just with him being black. So she literally she controlled like what shows they watched in the house. She would take book covers and take the book covers off, and while reading books actually changed names of characters, even so far as if she couldn't be home in time for them to go to bed, she would record cassette tapes for them to listen to, of her reading them bedtime stories with the character names changed. So what she did, she didn't completely isolate it, so like they didn't know white people existed. They knew white people existed. They saw white people, here and there going out and things like that. But while they were at home, they got to have a primarily black experience outside of being viewed by white people. So their experience was completely theirs in a completely natural way. And he talks about how this was all shattered when he read Green Eggs and Ham. I'm not doing the story justice. He goes into detail. He explains it so much better. He's also a great writer. I love reading his stuff. So please check out the post. When we post it in details and everything. But it's such an interesting story, and it says a lot about what we're talking about with cancel culture and all that stuff, and how so much of what being black for so many people is basically just catching the reflection from white people. So it's not even us seeing us by ourselves or as ourselves, it's us seeing us through someone else's viewpoint.
Yeah, you notice,
and that's all we get shown to
like
us.
You are a reflection of the people that you meet. So like you notice things that other people notice about you, right? And I may have mentioned this before, but like if you're white, you go through life with people never mentioning your race because, like you said, you're the default. You're just the blank canvas. But if you're black, your race is always noticed. It's always mentioned. So suddenly, your race becomes such an important factor in your identity, and it's defined by other people. So not only is it important to you, but the people who you interact with, who tell you how different you are, they're the ones who define it. But if you're white, that's never mentioned. So, the story you're telling about race and about, being able to be anything you want and believe in that. A person who hasn't spent their whole life having people tell them that their race is that they're different. So their race is is an important identifier because they're so different. They don't understand why that's so important. Because we go through life every day drinking tap water from the sink, and it's just we turn the tap and clean water comes out. We don't understand the importance of clean water until it's taken away from us, like in Michigan. But also in countries that you can't drink the tap water, water, it means so much more to them because they notice it. It's such a big deal. Yeah. Whereas with us, we're just like, oh yeah, water, I'll have it all the time. It's fine. So yeah, I think that definitely, I definitely think that people should read that. And I think that it's cool that, it's cool when black artists like him are vocal about that. And it's cool when black artists like us are also vocal about it, because even though we didn't write that and we're not as good of writers as he is, we also point it out and can direct people to people who can express this better than we can. And I think that's super important to just be vocal about our experiences so that other people can peek in and have a window into our lives. Because getting back to our topic, which I haven't even told yet, that also plays into what we're going to discuss on the podcast this week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Also, one thing that I appreciate about having you back on the show is the fact that I can drink water while you're talking. Because I couldn't do that last week. Okay. So here before we get into it, real quick, rapid fire question. Okay. What is your favorite bougie water? Everyone has one. What is your favorite bougie water? I still think I'm a Fiji guy. Although I'm either a Fiji or Smart Water.
Smart water I can give or take. Fiji though, I don't know what it I guess it's going to hotels for the longest time and seeing the bottle there and never touching, because I'm like, I'm not paying fucking $3, $4, $5 for this fucking thing. But just, I literally, if I'm feeling good on like a Friday or something, I might, if I'm going somewhere, or I just treat myself to like a nice bottle of Fiji water. I don't understand. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I think
that my Fiji water origin story is tied to around, and again, by the way, real-time podcast planning, like podcast planning live in real time. There's an episode I want to do an episode with you, but I don't want to talk about it now because I want it to be a Patreon exclusive. And I keep saying this every episode, and I haven't done it yet. But I want to talk about the job I had that shall not be named, and I want to do a whole episode on that. But I think I became a Fiji person when I started working that job, and I was making more money than I had ever made before. I wasn't rich, mind you, but I was making more money than I'd ever made before.
No, there's a difference. You know, when you're just all of a sudden you're just like, I don't like you hit that moment where you buy something, you're just like, I don't feel bad about buying this all of a sudden now. Like,
Yeah.
What just happened?
Well, that's the nice way to put it. For me, I was like, I can afford Fiji water now. I'm not drinking Dasani like you peasants. And I was just
real talk. As soon as I've drank Dasani for so long, but the first time I went and really just went ahead and said, fuck it, I'm getting Fiji water. I was like, Dasani who, mother?
Yeah, like, how is I drinking that melted snow? Like, what is this? So, yeah.
Exactly.
I think it was like a psychological thing because, like, now I can afford Dasani. I've arrived. And it feels wealthy. Like, it feels like I'm part of the 1% now. But
you just take the sip and go, look at being decadent.
I'm gonna have this with some Grey Poupon. By the way, how did Grey Poupon market itself as rich people mustard? What a
I don't understand.
brilliant technique. Anyway,
Yes.
How did they do it?
And dudes in the hood be like, yo, man, you got that Grey Poupon? Because someone would always somehow talk their way into getting a thing of Grey Poupon, and you're just like, it's all right, I guess.
Was there ever any bootleg Grey Poupon?
I don't know, but Grey Poupon's basically just deli mustard.
Right.
Like, bro, you can get deli mustard. Like,
Oh, but it's not Grey
deli mustard's not that big. Yeah,
But it's not Grey Poupon.
That's how you know. That's how you know a difference in life, because when you're I'll say when you're young and poor, and I'll add the caveat of being young, poor, and black.
Yes.
Mustard is yellow. It's just that fucking yellow crayon ass yellow.
Yeah,
And that's what mustard is.
the first time I saw brown mustard, it blew my mind.
Yes. She's like, what is
this white wizardry?
There's spots. What is this?
Yeah. Why does your mustard have freckles? Why does your mustard look like Klay Thompson? I don't understand. What is this Steph Curry mustard you're making me eat here?
Right? But then you try and you're just like, oh shit, this is what mustard can taste like.
And then you're like, wow, this would be really good on a bologna sandwich. Hey, Chad, do you have any bologna? Do I have what?
Okay. Working at a deli multiple times in my life put me on fucking Cooper Sharp cheese.
Oh, yeah. Cooper Sharp American?
Yes.
Wow, yes. Yeah. How did we both discover Cooper Sharp American separately and both come... How did that happen?
But like to this day, like I'm just like, oh, if I'm gonna make a fancy grilled cheese sandwich, and I mean, look, let me break it down for y'all. If y'all making a fancy grilled cheese sandwich, you gotta go somewhere and get sliced bread. Don't get that fucking loaf from Walmart. I don't care how expensive the loaf from Walmart is. You go to that fancy ass grocery store. You go to your Harris Teeter.
Pull on overtime if you have to.
You go to your Giant.
Get that bread money.
Yeah. You fucking get them a nice fresh sting of bread where they slice that shit for you. Oh my fucking God. You take it home. You get that pan. You gotta layer some, like a decent layer of butter. The thing is, you just don't burn it. Some of y'all burn your toast. I don't understand how y'all do this shit. Just, whatever. Like I can make a piece of toast on a frying pan. Like it's not that hard. You get the bread kind of nice.
Oh no, I'm losing you again. You again. Hold on. You froze.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I said I lost you at you make toast in a pan and go.
Okay, so you get the bread, just toast it just at that point, lightly toast it. You don't need to toast a lot, just lightly toast it. Then you're gonna start adding your cheese. You do some nice Cooper Sharp cheese, and I'm only gonna do the one cheese for you. I'm not right now my 3 cheese my 3 cheese sandwich, because one I haven't made in a while and I need to experiment again.
I can't believe it got on 2 cheeses.
I'm being bougie as fuck. I usually don't even fuck with cheese. This is the only time I fuck with cheese. So we're only doing Cooper Sharp. You're gonna go on the Patreon if you want to hear like the 3 cheese. I swear we will make a go on Patreon. I will make a grilled cheese on camera.
Carry on, don't
so
mind me.
See that shit.
Carry on, don't mind me.
But you don't but you don't have just one. You need about like 4 slices. Just kind of layer them on top, and then put that together and just have it on there enough for the cheese to melt. I'm telling you, some rye bread, some pumpernickel, something real nice.
I think whatever hood pass we may have had, we just gave it away.
Look.
All right.
When it comes to food, you can break some rules.
Okay, so wait, I need to try this. Okay, I need you to tell me. I'm going to ask you what kind of bread I should get. And I want you to tell me I have a choice between rye bread and pumpernickel. And I want you to do it over this beat and try to make it sound cool. Okay? All right. Gee, pardon me, sir. I need some bread, but I need to know what kind of bread I should get. What do you suggest?
Need bread? Yo, son. Let me put you on some game. Yo, you want to get either that rye, or you want to get that pumpernickel, son.
Okay, yeah, no.
Understand.
No hood pass. We have no hood pass. We are not allowed hood adjacent. We're allowed nowhere near the hood. Yeah, that settles it. Thank you for helping me figure that out.
You let me in someone's kitchen and see don't I get that hood pass back.
That sounds like a good bonus episode. But also now, we do need to do our cooking bonus episode, by the way. But now
it's gonna be so weird.
It will be weird. I have a space we can use.
We need to we both get our vaccination up and done and taken care of and everything, and then we will put money together and just do a nice fucking.
I have a really cool space we can use actually. I will tell you more about that off air, because my kitchen is not nearly big enough for that. So before I get to the analysis, I gotta tell you guys the answer to the quiz question. So, do you have a movie trivia answer? Another guess you want to give for the slow motion sound effect used in Dredd was a song that was slowed down 800 times. Who was the artist who recorded said song? And I gave you a clue. It's not a group.
Elton John,
it's an artist.
Tiny Dancer.
No, very wrong. The artist was, drumroll please, Justin Bieber. And that is your useless movie trivia.
My opinion of this movie just went down several levels.
Oh, you just wait, buddy, because it's going to go down even farther. So let's get started with this analysis, shall we? What song should I use? What do you think? Oh, no, not that. This? Want to use this again?
What was that sound? What was that sound bite that you were using a second ago?
I don't know. I'm going to crank the volume all the way up and press that button again and see what happens.
www.patreon.com/immoviepod.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Always is.
Without further ado, let's get chef's kiss. Without further ado, let's get into this analysis. And hopefully, Joe, I don't lose you during this analysis because I don't want to say a joke and then you not laugh and me think that the joke fell flat. So hopefully,
no, that's my area of expertise. You can't have that.
I'll try not to steal that from you. Okay, so let's fade the music up. Ah, wonderful. Me working the faders like a real producer. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into some movie analysis. DNA.
Right.
DNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid. I learned that in science class. Why am I telling you this? Well, stay tuned. In Dredd, actor Karl Urban stars as the scowling, hypermasculine, emotionless, long dong arm of the law. This isn't Karl Urban's only notable role in the film, however. He also plays the part of Hollywood actor that I always have to remind myself isn't Australian singer, songwriter, and record producer Keith Urban. They are not the same person. Although, if you plan to watch this movie yourself, you could try imagining that it's actually Keith Urban under that helmet, delivering witty one-liners while murdering minorities with reckless abandon. Doing that will at least give the movie one redeemable quality. Because imagining that the guy who sang a song called John Cougar, John Deere, John 316 is the same guy who punches a dude in the throat and says, "Choke on this," is pretty freaking entertaining. Because unless you enjoy dark corridors and even darker villains, there isn't a whole lot else to enjoy here. Here's the IMDb description. In a violent, futuristic city where police have the authority to act as judge, jury, and executioner, a cop teams up with the trainee to take down a gang that deals the reality-altering drug slow-mo. The film opens by showing us a violent, futuristic city. The narrator, who happens to be Judge Dredd, informs us via voiceover that he, as one of the judges, has the authority to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Following a high-speed pursuit, Dredd corners a criminal in a mall, judges him, juries him, and executioners him. Later, this cop teams up with a rookie with psychic abilities. Her name is Anderson, and she can read minds. Judge Dredd and his trainee, Judge Anderson, take down a gang that deals in the reality-altering drug slow-mo. So yeah, the IMDb description, pretty accurate. There ain't a whole lot more going on in this movie. I could do a more in-depth analysis, but there are only so many ways I can describe a head getting blown completely off by an explosive ammo round. If I had to describe what this
Slowly.
Slowly, yes. Sometimes it's pretty quick. If I had to describe this movie as a t-shirt, it would be a black shirt with the white Punisher logo with the blue stripe down the center and the words, "The only thing stopping a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun," written underneath. Yeah, now that I think about it, that could have made a pretty good tagline. The actual tagline, though, was, "Judgment is coming," which I suppose is fitting because I'm willing to bet that as Jeff Sessions sat in a darkened theater watching the closing scene where Dredd speeds off into the horizon while declaring via voiceover that law enforcement officers are the only ones fighting for order in the chaos, I'm willing to bet justice wasn't the only thing coming. If you know what I'm saying. Huh? I'm saying Jeff Sessions masturbated to this movie. But anyway, what if they used my tagline instead? What if they ran with the idea that we need good guys with guns to stop bad guys with guns? I mean, that's kind of what they did, but what if they really explored that idea? Like I'm about to do right now. See, here's the thing. There aren't any such things as objectively good or bad guys. It's all relative, and it's all a matter of perspective. And honestly, I thought this was the route the film was going to take. I thought Dredd, the battle-worn, jaded judge, jury, and executioner, would have his entire belief system shaken up by the idealistic rookie cop with a heart. He would tell her she's too soft. She would tell him he's too hard. The theater usher would approach Jeff Sessions and also tell him that he's also too hard. And eventually, Dredd and Anderson realize that they're both neither right nor wrong. There are no easy answers. No black and white. They start to understand that by murdering civilians in cold blood, that maybe they have become the bad guys. They both decide that they don't want to be cops anymore. They both realize that if they truly want to protect and serve, they could do a much better job of that from the outside. Again, I thought this was where the film was going. But no, I was wrong. Judge Dredd and his rookie partner, Judge Anderson, get themselves trapped in a high-rise building where they're being hunted by a drug-dealing gang called the Mama Clan. Yes, the Mama Clan. About 2/3 of the way through the movie, a group of fellow officers arrive on the scene, supposedly to provide backup for Dredd and Anderson, who desperately need it. But it turns out those backup officers are dirty cops. They're working with the Mama Clan and they plan to kill Dredd and Anderson. Spoiler alert, they don't. Dredd and Anderson kill everyone. They win. Movie over. All right. Are you following me there so far, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But now we're going to take a couple steps back. Remember when I mentioned DNA in the beginning? Well, here's why. In 1998, then President Bill Clinton was accused of having sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
So glad you said that. The way the news media portrayed this and the way Lewinsky was unfairly vilified could be a podcast episode of its own. But I'm not going to get into that today. No, today I want to talk about how these sexual allegations were described in 1998 terms. You have to understand, this was big news. TV news networks absolutely had to report on this as much as possible. But they couldn't be too explicit or detailed with their language, so they had to dance around it. For example, they had to call the alleged incident a, quote, sexual relation, as opposed to what it really was, sloppy toppy. The funniest part... You're not gonna make it through this. So let's go back. For example, they had to call the alleged incident a, quote, sexual relation, as opposed to what it really was, sloppy toppy. And the funniest part, to me anyway, was what happened when it was revealed that some of President Clinton's stuff had ended up on Monica Lewinsky's blue dress. Like I said, this was huge news. If you weren't alive back then, or you were too young to remember, go ahead and Google stained blue dress. Go ahead. But it was funny because how are primetime news programs supposed to describe what exactly caused the stain on that dress without actually speaking the word semen? How could they tell people without telling them? Well, they could have called it baby batter. I need you to stay strong for me so I can make it through this, okay? They could have called it baby batter, bonk juice. I'm sorry, I'm an adult, I can do this. They could have called it baby batter, bonk juice, chode nectar, dong water, jamba juice, nizzle drizzle. Penis colada. Penis colada. Pearl Jam. I'm not gonna make it through this script. I wrote this. What's wrong with me? Okay. Penis colada, Pearl Jam, satchel syrup, or high fructose corn syrup. But they chose none of those things. They instead chose DNA. It was Bill Clinton's DNA on that dress. Now, technically, that was true, but I was a kid when this was all happening. I didn't fully understand what was going on. I mean, I recognized that the stuff on the dress was Bill Clinton's residual turkey spit, but I had never heard the term DNA before. So I can't look at you while I'm doing this. So in my mind, that's what DNA was. DNA was just another word for willy milk, white gold, erectoplasm. So imagine my surprise. So imagine my surprise, confusion, and fear on one fateful day in science class when the teacher told us all how he was going to teach us about DNA. I had never been more terrified of an upcoming PowerPoint presentation in my life. But obviously, the lesson had absolutely nothing to do with population paste. But I shared that story to make a point. Before that day in class, I had no idea what DNA actually was. I thought I knew, but I didn't. In other words, I didn't know what I didn't know. And that's going to be the topic of today's discussion. Instances where people have no idea how ignorant they actually are. And how do we interact with these people who genuinely have no idea how misinformed they are? And I chose Dredd as this week's movie because I think it's a film representation of the inner thoughts and desires of anyone who drives a lifted pickup truck with a blue stripe going across the back window and a bumper sticker that says something like, "Control your kids, not our guns," or "The Second Amendment protects the First Amendment." And if you're wondering, yes, those are actual bumper stickers that exist. But the thing about this movie and this general line of thinking is that Dredd is completely oblivious to the fact that he's creating more problems than he's solving. Case in point, in the first scene, during a police pursuit, one of the bad guys hits a pedestrian with his van, instantly killing him. Dredd sees this, and because the bad guys committed a murder, it means that Dredd is now allowed to sentence them all to death, which he does. "The perps just took out an innocent," he says. "I'm taking them down." But the perps only, quote, took out an innocent because they were speeding away from Dredd, who didn't even have to chase them. The bad guys were being followed and monitored by a drone flying high overhead. Not only that, but Dredd shoots out the van's tires in the middle of a busy city center during rush hour traffic, causing the van to spin out of control, flip over, and land upside down. How many innocent lives did he put at risk by doing that? Also, Dredd represents the epitome of a tough on crime mindset. You can't get much tougher than killing people on the spot. But research has shown repeatedly that getting tougher on crime doesn't actually reduce crime. It doesn't work. Case in point, by taking down the leader of the drug gang, but not actually addressing drug addiction or the people's living conditions, Dredd didn't actually solve anything. He simply left an opening for some other up-and-coming drug-running gang leader to fill. Like I said, the film could have been pretty cool, in my opinion, if they had addressed any of this, but they didn't. Instead, Dredd rides off into the horizon, a hero. And there are people out there who would love nothing more than to see real-life law enforcement officers operate this way. But, excuse me. There are people out there who would love to see real-life law enforcement officers operate this way more than they already do, which is pretty much most of the time anyway. And they want this because they genuinely believe it will stop crime. But they don't know what they don't know. So that's what we're going to talk about today. People who don't know what they don't know. And it's interesting that you shared that post with me about the social media post about when we're going to ban rap music, because that actually fits in with exactly what I wanted to talk about this week. So there's a lot to unpack about this idea of people not knowing what they don't know. So we can start right there, because I feel like...
Before we do that, you have done me a disservice, sir.
Yes?
So I shall do you one in kind. You forgot. Oh, ski, motherfucker. Oh, ski, goddamn.
I'm so sorry. I forgot skeet. Wow, my hood pass is definitely revoked. Just kidding, I never had one.
But the guy who recommended Pumpernickel still got it.
Yes, I want to apologize for recommending Pumpernickel, but might I interest you in some skeet, sir?
Oh, no. I mean, unless it's consensual, then, people are allowed to do it.
I'm engaging in a skeet-free diet, thank you.
Yes.
It's not paleo.
Wait, would that be? No, let's not open that door. That door's not getting open.
Let's keep that shut.
That door is locked and chained for a reason. Let's leave it be.
Although, while you talk about this, I'm going to Google it.
No.
Would be considered paleo. Let's see what Google says.
Let's not say that we didn't.
It's keto. Is it keto friendly? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm definitely not looking this up. Does anyone know approximately?
You're not telling me.
Question I'd like to answer from my boyfriend. Does anyone know approximately how many grams of carbs are in a typical load of... You know what? Never mind. No. Oh, now it works. Oh. I'd like to know if I have to force him on a keto diet for a while before I'm going to swallow, or if there'd still be too many carbs. No. Okay. All right. So we can move on, but just so you know, it's 1/100th of a gram. Anyway, carry on.
I can't do the math for that anyway, so I'm good.
Okay. So, I guess it would depend on how big the. You know what? Never mind. Anyway, you were saying. You don't know what you don't, but you know that now. So that's something you don't know. That's something you know that you didn't know before.
That's something I didn't need to know. I wish I could go back to when I didn't know it.
It's also very high in vitamin C. But anyway, rap music being banned.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, stop it. Stop it.
Okay. All right.
Just stop it.
Just one time. Let me do this one time. Okay. Carry on. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I won't do it again on purpose.
So yeah, if one could easily mistake rap music for being extremely violent and painting black people in a horrible light if a person has never actually really tried to listen to rap music and has only heard maybe a couple songs either in passing or whatever.
I don't know though. Like I remember this was in maybe the early 2000s, I think. No, it was in the mid 2000s when Fall Out Boy had just come on the scene not too long ago, or they had just like breached the mainstream not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And there was this argument.
Oh yeah, like the time that you tried to kill us that were in the car. I haven't forgotten about that.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I've forgotten about that. So
the Wilmington trip.
What? Oh
when
my
we went
goodness!
To go see them,
I remember we went to go see them, and we had a great time.
You told me to go the wrong way down a one-way street.
Oh yeah! Yeah. Hood Pass would have been nice that day.
Yes, it
would. That's another, like, I feel like people who don't understand black people need to kind of realize that, like, that was a situation that we couldn't have been like, if something bad happened to us, we couldn't have leaned out the window and be like, oh, I'm sorry, fellow brothers. I'm one of you.
Yeah, and we had a white girl in the car with us, so that just there's no good options.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I had completely forgotten about that until this very second. Thank you for reminding me. But what I was referring to, I'm a terrible human being. But I forgive myself and I love myself. But what I was...
Not to mention the oncoming traffic too. Jesus Christ.
Why does anyone ever listen to me? But back in the day, when Fall Out Boy there was this argument within punk circles because a lot of like mainstream music publications were calling them like punk rock saviors and like the leaders of punk rock, and people were like, they're not real punk rock music. But the same people would say, I don't listen to rap. It's all just violence and killing and sexism and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I would say, well, what rap music have you heard? And they would name whatever was on the radio at the time.
Oh, you know that Snoop Doggy Dogg or whoever.
Or that 50 Cent, which I never understood. Because his name is 50. He says it in his songs. It's 50. Why do people call him 50 Cent? Anyway, that's a whole other argument for another day. But I would say, well, if you're judging all rap music based on this, can I judge all punk music based on Fall Out Boy? Oh, no, you can't do that. That's not fair. I'm like, well, if you're just scratching the surface of rap music, then why are you judging an entire genre and an entire group of people based on what you hear? Maybe hold your opinion until you do more research.
Also, considering I just realized my tangent also had a secret point in there.
Yeah,
because when we went to go see them, who was playing with them, who was still together at the time? Gym Class
Heroes, yes. It was Gym Class Heroes, Midtown, and Fall Out Boy.
And the Academy is.
And the Academy, the Academy is. Yeah, I forgot about them. I like that was a great show.
Rest in peace, Academy is.
I know.
Like, they were such a good band.
They were all so good.
That first album had no sense of being that good.
I know. Now I'm gonna listen to it again.
Like, no matter. Look, this is weird, but you know what everyone says about like Panic at the Disco and all that stuff. That first Academy is album was the shit. Every song was a fucking banger.
Oh, I agree, 100%. Although I also think it's funny that you preface that with "This is going to be weird" after I just gave like 15 euphemisms for semen. Like, that's good. That was weird. In comparison, you're fine. I promise.
We are who we are.
And I'm not going to change. But yeah, it's that thing of like when I talk to people about rap music, and it's extra difficult for me to be patient with that, because my first love as far as music goes was with rap music. And I may have told the story before, but I don't remember if I have or not. But I first got into
rap music raised you. Yes, rap music taught you how to walk and all this stuff.
I was raised in the streets.
Yada yada.
Actually, I was listening to music I should not have been listening to at the age I was listening to it. Like, there is no reason I should have been listening to a Dina Howard Freak Like Me. That was not.
No, neither one of us. But yet there we were.
Yeah. But I remember listening to Freak Like Me, Roughneck by MC Lyte, and what was the other one? There was another one that was similar.
Anything by Salt and Pepper.
Yeah, but I remember listening to that and thinking, I'm never going to get a girlfriend. This is what girls like. I'm not a roughneck.
Yeah. There was definitely a point where I was just like, I may be out of luck in this department.
Yeah. But so I grew up listening to rap music. Rap music was my intro into my love of music. And the reason why, one reason why I branched out in rap music was I only had access to so much of it, because I either had listened to the radio, I'd listened to cassette tapes that other people bought because I couldn't buy my own. And I was just like, I love music so much. Now I have to branch out and find more. So I started to like explore the radio and listen to different things, and I just couldn't get enough. And then MTV, I started watching MTV, and it was just like so much music, and I just fell in love with all music. But it all started with rap music. So when I heard people talk bad about rap music, you know, never mind the racist undertones, and I feel like we're going to get into that as well. But it's just like, you're disrespecting such a great art form because you don't understand it. And I just, it's so hard for me to have patience with that, because you're taking a massive dump on something that was so important to me growing up. But how do you deal with that? How do you respond to someone who feels that way?
I mean, you could take my approach, which is usually fuck off. But I mean, you can't do that everywhere. And the whole reason we actually brought up that subject is because that was something that was shared online. It was actually in my timeline feed, and I could have just went off. And I almost thought about just going off. But for circumstances that I won't bring up, I could not. Yeah. In all good conscience. Well, I could, but there would be other times where if I kept following that pattern of reacting to stuff that way, it would eventually get bad. Yeah. So and you don't always, just because you see something that pisses you off. This is a mental health tip for everyone. It's the internet. You're gonna see shit that pisses you off all the time. You can't fight everyone on the internet as much as you want to. As much as my girlfriend tells me, just stop, and I'm just like, no. I need to get in this. You can't. Or as Tyrice knows, because there was a while when you were talking about things on your Facebook, and then hear my ass go ready to just jump in and just like, who we fighting today? And I had to stop because it's not healthy. You can't just do everything. And I don't want to tell people to just ignore it, but sometimes you got to be like, this is what it is. Obviously, this is bullshit. Just let it roll off you. I think just keep it moving.
It's the same way that I tell people to deal with, or I suggest to people to deal with cable news. And the fact that in either cable news or also push notifications with internet news, like cable news is on all the time. There's networks dedicated to it. News websites and certain news aggregators send you push notifications if you let them all the time. And if you want to, you can be completely engrossed in the news all the time. But what I tell people is just because it's available all the time doesn't mean that you should engage with it all the time. It's there, but don't watch it all the time. Like, we're beyond that age where the news came on at 6 o'clock and that's the only time you could get it. You can get it whenever you want now. And it's extra important not to engage that much because with social media and with the news and with everything, like social media is the algorithms are designed to deliver things to you that you don't like, because when you get angry, what do? You interact with the post, and that's what they want. They want to keep you interacting with it. So if you start like yelling at people who are conservative Republicans because you disagree with them, guess what you're going to get in your feed? Trump, 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 Trump.
Yeah.
and that's actually fine if you recognize it and kind of step back from it. But if you don't recognize it, you're going to be in that loop all day long if you don't limit your time on social media. Because when I would argue with people on Facebook, I would do it because it wouldn't get to me on an emotional level. I would want to have discussions with people who disagree with me so I can know what they think.
Yes, and I remember that, and that was something I admired about you, that you were able to do that.
It doesn't get to me.
I on the other hand, was not.
Right. And I completely understand. And like 9 times out of 10, when I would argue with someone, it would be someone who I know personally. And it wouldn't just be a stranger. And I'm just like,
especially that one person that we both knew, that it was just like, wow, this is enlightening.
But there's so many people like that. There's so many people from my past who I talk to on social media, and we got along so well. And then it's just like we lost touch for a while, and we came back, and then they're like, the world isn't round. It's shaped like a donut. And I'm like, what happened to you? Who are you?
Okay, that one dude in particular. Like, me and him used to be cool in school. You know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know the guy I'm talking about. And it just seems like some time passed, and he just lost every little bit of common sense and reality in his brain.
That's the thing, though. Like, all the people who I talk to are people who I have been cool with, like, on that level. I mean, at least on my end. But the people who I talk to like that are people who I've been cool with on that level in some way. And this just comes out of left field where they're just like, and I don't know if they changed or if I'm just seeing the side of them, or if the fact that I'm suddenly saying, hey, I'm black, I'd rather not die. And they're like, wait a minute, hold on. You never said that when we were teenagers. You know
just
what I
like,
mean?
well, I just assumed that was implied.
Yeah, did I have to? And like, why are you reacting this way to me? But again, you know, one thing I always say with these conversations is I always approach them with this mindset. Well, not always, but most of the time, it's when someone approaches me with some nonsense, it's either they don't know or they don't care. And I'm going to make sure that because I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But when we walk away from the conversation, I want to make sure that I know which side you're on. Either you don't know or you don't care. So with things about...
That's generous. That's very generous of you.
I do it.
It's commendable.
I do it for... It's not even necessarily for them. It's for my own like mental health, right?
No, and that's great. That's
I appreciate
such a
that.
healtly way of looking at it.
I appreciate that.
Sometimes I just need to clap some motherfuckers, and that's all it is.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation because our approaches are so different, but there's no wrong way. Like if that guy had said this to me in person, or even if I had read it on social media, I would engage in a conversation. Like, I mean, if the circumstances were different than they were for you, probably. But I would say, like, oh, man, this guy is being really disrespectful to me right now, and everything that I hold dear, he either doesn't care or he doesn't know. He doesn't understand. So I'm going to be really upfront with him about what's happening and how this is making me feel and how wrong he is. And if he doesn't change his behavior, then I know that he doesn't care. And now all bets are off. I can be as disrespectful as I want, guilt-free. I don't care. But...
I'm waiting for the episode. There's gonna be an episode where we're gonna talk about something and it's just gonna hit you and you're gonna be real disrespectful. And I am just waiting for the day that you give in to your anger.
Yes. I'm trying to think of a situation where that's happened to me. Or where it could potentially happen to me. So my big thing is, here's my big thing. I'm all about, and this is going to sound very like, this is going to sound like a Tumblr blog post, but I'm all about This is gonna sound like something that someone toxic would post on social media, but I'm all about protecting my energy. Usually the people who say that are the most problematic people in the world, in my experience. But I'm all about protecting my energy, and here's what I mean. I feel like when someone, if someone can say something that can make me mad, I feel like I try not to let someone make me angry because, and this actually goes back to that episode that I want to do about my old job, but I try not to let people make me angry because when they make me angry, then they have control over my energy, if that makes sense. Am I making sense? Wait, did I lose you again? Oh, hang on. I think I lost you. Wait, hold on. So for y'all, in case you guys didn't notice, we had more technical difficulties, but I think we fixed it. But if you notice this weird transition, this weird jump in the audio and or video, that's why that happened. And Joe and I both forgot what we were talking about before we took this break. So
whoever thought that could happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we were talking about energy and protecting your energy, and I don't know where we were, but I have a thought that I want to share anyway. Unless you have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Just what you're saying is, I don't really, as a man of science. I'm usually, when people come at me with the whole energies thing, I'm like, get the fuck out of my face. But it's still true. I mean, if you just not think about fucking crystals and shit like that. And that's not no disrespect to people who are into that, but at the same time, that's not fucking science. I'm sorry.
I just want to say, hold on. I just want to say that I am not Joe's opinions do not reflect the opinions of me. And I have a lot of people. I got shooters in these streets who are not going to like what you just said. However,
I know some people on my side who just are like, "Oh, really?"
Just make sure you direct all of your hate mail specifically.
No, guys, come at me with your negative energies. Come at me. So, form that negative energy into a Kamehameha wave and go ahead and shoot it at me, and let's see what happens.
You said the magic word, shoot! You said the magic word, shoot! Sorry.
Now I feel like that's divine punishment.
Yeah, sorry. I was a big Pee-wee's Playhouse fan.
So was I. Who wasn't?
But yeah, make sure you direct all that hate towards Joe. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. Now carry on.
But I mean, obviously people believe what you want to believe. What works for you works for you. But it's it's something I'm learning. It's something I'm really trying to work on. The problem is, as much as some people have this idea that I'm very nice and kind and stuff, and that may be what it is. Also, I'm sure some of my friends are like, "You are, fuck you, stop telling shit, stop saying shit, stop it." But
I don't.
You too. That goes for you too, Tyrice. Shut the fuck up.
Joe is a very nice guy. I'm gonna tell everyone. I've been telling people that. By the way, sorry. Sorry, I will slander you. I'm so sorry.
But I get things can hit me quickly. The thing I do is, and it's a bad habit from being younger, just fucking internalize until, oh God, I'm trying to remember. Was that, I don't think you remember. I don't think this is something you remember because
there's a lot that I don't remember.
Well, no. But this was like I can't remember, this was in 4th or 5th grade.
Oh, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah. What are some things I remember from there? But someone had taken like some cards I had. And I just remember one day losing it and yelling at the top of my lungs in the in the cafeteria at Buckingham Elementary, give me back my freaking cards. And they gave me my cards back because they were just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
And it worked. And from that day forward.
And also, I don't think I got in trouble either.
Yeah, so like, why would you keep doing that?
I think, but I try not to. I don't always like dealing with my anger. And I know that can be unhealthy. And that's part of the reason why I miss lifting things right now. Not lifting shit is like, people don't understand. Fine, whatever. I want to be kind and nice to people. I generally don't
Fine, I guess I'll be nice.
I don't want to have problems with people. But when shit starts to bug me, there was something about lifting heavy weight, just having super angry music on, and just fucking letting it rip, that just felt so fucking intoxicating. And it was just a release that, like, I need it.
I love
the fact that I haven't done that for so long. Like,
I mean, I love that that you mentioned that, because now we're kind of drifting into a discussion about like self-care, and I think that different people have different ways of getting that same feeling of that release that you talk about. And for me, like, when I go and lift heavy things, it's not for that same reason. Like, when I go and I lift, it's the only time during the day, one of the only times during the day that I can turn my brain off and just not think about anything. I'll turn on the music and I just lift, and I'm listening to also really aggressive music, but I'm doing it not to work out anything that's bugging me or any anger. I do it because all I'm thinking about in that moment is the next weight. I'm not thinking about anything else. Whereas when I'm sitting at home, I'm just overanalyzing things all the time. Hence why I started a podcast about overanalyzing movies.
yeah.
But even when I got something that's bothering me, when someone gets to me in a way, and like when someone like really affects me negatively, or I'm mad or whatever, I take all that and I turn it into something that, like, for lack of a better word, I put it into my art. So if I have an interaction with someone who's blatantly racist to me, I'll deal with that situation, but also that situation goes into a notebook for me that's going to be a future podcast episode. Or it'll work its way into, a story that I'm working on, a short story that I'm working on. It'll go into something. When I was playing guitar more often, it would go into a song that I'm working on. It goes into something, and I need that time. I take that time alone when I'm working on things. That's my gym. The feeling you get from the gym is that's when I get that. Then when I'm taking what's up here and putting it to paper and like really looking at it and working it out then and turning it into something, turning that negativity into something that is going to be a positive, because it's going to influence the stuff that I'm working on. So that's where I get that from.
I think in that regard, I'm more of while you're more cerebral in that way, I'm just more visceral, because like I miss doing martial arts. That's something I would love to do. And the idea of like being able to hit like a heavy bag and stuff feels very cathartic, because I don't have to actually do violence.
Hit a person?
Hit a person, yeah. I'd much rather hit something inanimate that I'm not going to hurt.
Yeah.
Than hit someone else.
It's all the fun, none of the guilt afterwards. Weights.
Yeah. Or back in the Screamo days, like that, being able to just run around the stage and scream like an insane demon to just kind of get whatever was in me out of my system, and then it's like I am cleansed,
right? And I
am back to normal.
And there's definitely someone listening right now who hears me talk and they're like, "Yes, that's me. You're speaking my thoughts." And there's someone listening to you talk and going, "Absolutely, I understand exactly what he's saying." There is no. It's cool because there is no right or wrong way to go about doing it, and it's all about like trial and error, basically, to figure out what works best for you. And that's what's so cool. And like, to bring it back to the conversation about talking to people who don't know what they don't know, I think that by engaging in those things, it does, in my opinion, gives you more patience to deal with people who maybe don't necessarily need you to react to them in such anger, and it gives you the patience to like give them a little bit of I don't want to use the word rope because of the issues we're discussing, give them a little more space to maybe like work with them a little bit.
Well, I want to say that when I've a good amount of time when I've tried to engage someone and just really like, hey, let's just sit and just kind of discuss it. I want to say a good majority of the time, like it can be really good. Like I have to stifle that hot-headedness in me just a bit to be just like, okay, we're just talking, we're getting through this. You don't understand this. Maybe there's some aspect I'm not understanding about it, or I'm not understanding your point of view, and the fact that I can't understand how you came to your conclusion is what's bothering me about the whole thing.
And I think that makes complete sense, and I think that's something that's constantly, it's a constant work in progress, right? Like it's not something that you're just gonna wake up tomorrow and just, I want to be better at this, and then you just wake up and you're just better at that, and like, like it doesn't work that way, and I mean, for me, like I can talk all day about, if I have patience and I patiently explain to people how they may have thought this incorrectly and they were mistaken, but like that's not everybody. Like that's not normal. That's just how I am. It's how I've always been.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's worked against me and sometimes it's worked for me. But like I recognize that not everyone has the level of patience that I have. But I also think that, and how can I talk about this without talking about it too much? At my previous employer, I think that I saw firsthand how that hot-headedness would work against, how it worked against people. And I saw how it could work against me, because my first couple years working there, I just sat back and I just observed how other people worked. Because I was like, whose working style am I going to steal? What works for them? What doesn't work for them? What works for them? And just sit back and just watched. And I saw how that hot-headedness can work against a person. So I was like, okay, I'm not naturally inclined to be hot-headed anyway, but I know that I could be pushed to that. It's not out of the realm of possibility that I could be pushed to that point and become that. So I need to put extra work into being more who I am and be more laid back and more relaxed. But then the challenge is, how do I be assertive? How do I assert myself? If someone steals my cards, how do I get them back? That's been my struggle, is how do I, like, if you're all the way on this side as far as like as far as hot-headedness, then I'm all the way over here, and we both need to be right here.
Yeah. Well, so here's the interesting thing when it comes to that. Because I could say that, I have hot-headedness, but when it comes to being assertive, I'm usually not very assertive, because I'm always mindful of like trying to keep myself held back for a little bit. So I tend to let shit slide a lot of times, because I'm just like, just chill, there's no reason to take this. Like I'm trying to find the better in people, because it's not so much that, I think it's more that I don't want to be the worst of what I think I can be. So mentally, I try to hold myself back. Right. And unfortunately, that a lot of times comes into like letting things slide that I shouldn't. Right. I think the only time I really become assertive is when it comes to other people. Oh, and for like sure. Friends and things like that. That's the only time where it's just like, nope. Being able to hold back is just not quite there.
Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. And I'm gonna fix my microphone here. I don't know what happened to it. Oh well, I think I broke my shock mount. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I'm the same way to an extent. Like I have much more patience when something is happening to me versus when I see someone else being mistreated. And I see them being mistreated, either talked down to or disrespected, and I can see that they don't have the means to stand up for themselves, and they want to, but they just can't, or they're just being bullied. I have no patience for that whatsoever. I hate's a strong word, but anyone who, and I don't want to use the word abuse, because that's a serious word. I'm not going to the abuse level, but I mean like someone who antagonizes someone who is beneath them in the sense that they're maybe not as assertive, or they're just afraid, or there's something, any kind of bullying. Like, I have no patience for that. So I'm the same way. Like, I'm more likely to be assertive when it affects someone else. And for me, I'm also more likely to let things go because a lot of stuff just doesn't bother me. Like, I look at the bigger picture and I'm like, this isn't really a big deal. You know, like if someone disrespects me in a certain way, I'm just like, I don't care what they think about me anyway. So whatever, just let it go. It's fine. But what I learned is like, I have to be somewhat assertive. Otherwise, it's just going to keep happening. Yeah. It's going to keep happening from them and from other people who are like, oh, I can just disrespect Joe and he's not going to do anything. This is
pretty much.
This is lit. I'm going to do this all the time. Like, so it's a constant balancing act, I guess. But to bring it back to the question of how do you deal with people who are just completely ignorant of a given situation? And I think that for me, and you can agree or disagree. Like, we've disagreed on a lot this podcast, and that's fine. Presenting multiple sides. But I think that people have a responsibility to educate themselves to some extent. Yes. And I think that also people should, it becomes an ego thing, right? Like, if someone realizes that they don't know something, their ego won't let them admit that they're ignorant on a certain topic. Yeah. Like, when an issue comes up of something happening and a black person gets shot in Ferguson, Missouri. Well, suddenly everyone on social media is a social worker. Everyone is a sociologist. Everyone is a criminologist. Like, it's okay to admit that you don't know. And when people who do know start speaking up, then you should listen. And I think the thing that bothers me is when I'm not necessarily bothered by people who are ignorant. I'm bothered by people who are ignorant and refuse to listen. Yes. And I think that's the thing that I don't have any patience for. So I guess what I'm saying is
that and people who literally will take advantage of a situation to just be shitty because they get a rise out of seeing someone else upset. Right. And
the issue with that is that I have with that is people say, oh, you know, so it all comes back to people wanting to dodge accountability. And I feel like a lot of people feel like, and this is especially true in my experience of white males want to dodge accountability, and they feel like they're entitled to that, which I can understand if they've been granted that privilege their entire lives. But it all comes back to that because they'll say things that are blatantly disrespectful, and then if you address it, then their response is, well, everyone's too sensitive these days. Whereas
I hate that. I hate that.
And they'll say, well, everyone's gone soft. And I'm like, wait, last time I checked the masculinity requirements, it's a list on how to be masculine that you probably wrote, sir. Not you, Joe, the person in the scenario. Then
yes, I have very different lists of masculinity requirements.
But last time I checked this list, then you said that a sign of being soft was letting people disrespect you. So standing up for yourself is a sign of being tough. Now you're telling me standing up for myself is a sign of weakness. The only consistent thing here that I see is that you want to be able to do and say what you want with no accountability.
Yes. Yes.
Like that doesn't seem fair, sir. So yeah, I guess speak on your like experiences with people, you holding someone accountable and then them saying like, oh, you're so soft, like everyone's so sensitive. It's a joke.
You see that stuff. It's blatant. You see that stuff all the time. Now everyone is talking about how it's so sensitive, or even just like you see it in the memes, like oh, people can't handle this these days because people are so soft. And I love that I'm looking at some of these people. I'm like, you're 18, you're 19, you're like 25 or something. My ass is older than you. What the fuck do you know about people these days being soft?
Right.
These are your days.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're hearing this legend from someone else who probably is full of shit themselves and has always been an asshole, and like that's we know who's been in control of the fucking narrative for so long. So of course the old days seem like, oh, when men were men and women were women, and it's just like, nope, you couldn't talk about certain shit. Like I saw a post today when it was just like, oh, like of someone saying that, oh, you have so many people being gay, lesbian, trans, all this stuff now because it's, you know, become the popular thing to do. And it's like, no. Years back, you just straight up get killed and no one would give a shit. So you had to fucking hide. Like, it's not that all of a sudden this shit became in vogue. People have been like this. They just...
Right.
And they still do have to worry about dying for it. But like, while there's a better chance of living now, back then it was just like, no. If they find us, we're dead. That's it.
And it goes back to that ego thing where it's just like, well, if I've never experienced this or seen it, if it's never been part of my worldview, then it must not have existed. I just noticed this week, so clearly it just no. The world is bigger than you.
Yes, but you also then believe in these legends of masculinity from your grandfathers, great grandfathers, and all the shit that's been passed around and all this stuff. It's just like,
and this is why
take your pick.
And this
which is it? And
this is why I lose friends sometimes before I even gain them, because when people say these things, I don't, I come off as. I don't know what I come off as, but I really don't care. But when people say these things, I call them on it in a way that I try to be respectful. But when someone who is 18 years old says, well, it's not like in the past, people are so sensitive these days. And I'll ask them, like, well, what days are you, in relation to what? Tell me what days you remember where people were less sensitive. Like, what era are you referring to? Because it doesn't sound like you, no disrespect, but you don't have a frame of reference here. Like, what? I genuinely don't understand, and I'm open to the fact that
sounds like you just know that people got away with a lot of shit in the past.
Yeah,
and that's the problem right there. They got away with a lot of shit in the past.
Either that, or you've been listening to your parents have discussions over dinner. And your dad is like, well, I tell you what, these days, these kids, they're so sensitive. And you're just like, you know what? Kids are sensitive these days.
Yeah, exactly. While your mom is sitting there thinking in her head she hasn't had an orgasm in over a decade, or at least anything close to it. I mean, let's put out the real.
Maybe she should buy herself.
Maybe if she hung out with her friend Barbara that she used to hang out with and be really close, maybe she would have an idea of what that feels like.
Why Barbara?
I don't know. I was thinking of like an older name, and Barbara was the one that came up.
Why Barbara? The only Barbara I know is Barbara Bush. So thank you for that.
See, at least I have Barbara Gordon from the comics.
I should Google list of famous Barbaras. Yes. Where was I? I got completely off track there a little bit. Oh wait, there's something about Judge Dredd that I forgot to mention. There's a scene at oh gosh, it's not far into the movie. It's during the scene where there's the mall shootout right after the intro, and Dredd is looking for the bad guy who got away, the bad guy. And if you watch the movie, watch it with headphones on, because there's crowd noise of everyone screaming and running away because they're terrified of the shooting, and you hear people yelling, oh my gosh, da, 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 and you can hear like snippets of people yelling, and you just hear someone and this is just funny to me, you hear someone yell I'm gonna try to do my best at recreating this. Someone yells, come on, baby. And for some reason, I watched it like 5 times and I laughed every single time. Find Judge Dredd. It's on Hulu. Find Judge Dredd.
I just watched it on Hulu. The original's on Hulu as well.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that. I haven't watched that since it first came out. But when you I am the law. So when you watch it, find that scene in the mall, put your headphones on, you hear someone yell, come on, baby. It's the funniest thing in the world. You'll understand what I mean when you watch it. Let's see.
There's one thing. So we're not giving away the ending. Because we're not
Judge
doing
Dredd?
spoilers for Judge Dredd.
Oh, I'll do spoilers. I don't care.
You do spoilers?
This movie was terrible.
Well, no. So here's the point. You were actually slightly wrong about the end, about people not learning lessons.
Oh, go on.
Well, so the Judge Anderson, this was her trial run to see if she could hang. She fails by the rules of the judges. But at the end of the movie, Judge Dredd acknowledges the fact that she is a good person and possibly very right for the job, because he should fail her. He's asked, did she pass or fail? What he should have said was she failed because she got disarmed. Remember, that was one of the rules. You get disarmed, automatic fail. But he recognized that, you know, the way her outlook is something that's necessary. I don't think he would have, if he hadn't learned anything at all, he would have just failed her. So he recognizes that. The great irony and sadness of the movie, because it gets tragic when you look at it, is you have no inclination that he's going to change his tactics at all or really push for change in the department. He's like, we got a good one here. That's it.
Yeah, and you know, and I feel like also there's no happy ending to this movie, and this is actually interesting because like we can probably wrap this up now because we've already gone for over 2 hours.
A 3-hour show. A 3-hour show.
Have to work in the morning. Alarm goes off at 3:30 a.m.
Jesus.
It is currently 10:11 p.m.
I thought it was bad that my alarm goes off at 4:30 for my job during the week. Jesus.
No, 3:30. I also like to lay in bed for like an hour before I get up, so that's my own fault. But anyway,
I need that too. But
I'm gonna play the let's see, what song should I play? We'll play this as the wrap it up music. I felt like this movie, like I left this movie pretty depressed because I felt like there were only a few options for how it ended.
Yeah.
Because so you were right. So she decides that she doesn't want to be a cop anymore. She's pretty disillusioned with the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she fails, and she's like, fine, here, take my badge. I don't want it. She walks away.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what could have happened after the events of the movie. Like Judge Dredd says she passed. And here's what could have happened. So I feel like my initial thought was she comes back. Okay, how can I explain this? So at first, when she says she doesn't want the job, she turned it down. She walked away. I was like, great. She got out. She doesn't want to be a cop anymore. She's done. But when he tells the woman that she passed, I'm like, oh no, she's going to come back and she's going to be a cop now. And this is going to end one of two ways. If we believe that Dredd and Anderson are now good cops, well, they're going to get fired or they're going to be asked to resign because that's what happens to good cops.
Or imprisoned. Not even
or
because
imprisoned.
with them, because their laws are really strict. So
yeah, or they might not even get in prison. They may just get shot on the spot because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Or Anderson, who has the potential to actually do some good and bring about change, is going to stay on the job long enough that she becomes as jaded and violent as Dredd. And then she just becomes him and she loses all of her humanity because she becomes a cop, and that's what happens to...
I want to posit there is a even more frightening third option.
Bring it on.
So I don't necessarily think that she quit, like she was disillusioned. I think she felt like by the parameters she knew she failed, and that was the whole thing. She failed. They know everything's by the book, so she's like, she failed. She doesn't think that she passed muster. Obviously she's gonna be contacted later. She could decide that, you know, just like that doesn't make any sense or whatever, and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go, you know, I'm just not gonna do this. And they either force her into becoming a judge or lock her up because she is the most powerful psychic that they have ever seen. And if they don't have her, because that's what I got the feeling was. Just like, no. She's a weapon herself. So if they can't have her, no one else can have her because she poses a threat.
Okay, so she gets murdered.
Either murdered, imprisoned, or forced back in. And then crumbles under the pressure of not wanting to be there, but being known that she's being held there because they view her as a weapon.
I'm glad we're having this uplifting conversation over this, like, this depressing conversation, this depressing, like, interpretation of this movie over this nice, light music.
People, aren't you glad I'm back and making jokes and shit? Because this could have been really fucking just dark.
In conclusion, after the events of the film, Anderson either dies or wishes she were dead. There is no in between.
There's no light. There's no sunshine. There's no rainbows.
There's none. And with that, I think that we can wrap it up, unless you have any last minute shout outs you would like to throw out there. If you don't, that's okay. I can put them in the descriptions.
So I'm going to do a shout out that actually I had already previously shouted out, but technical difficulties ate that shit up and threw it away.
Yeah, I'll put it together in a bonus episode somewhere.
Yep. Oh, wait a minute. Don't put it in the Oh, well, I guess you could put it in the bonus.
I'll do like a compilation thing at some point.
So this is Daddy Longlegs and the Inchworm.
Bring it back a little bit closer to your face. I'm sorry. Where is it? No, bring it to.
No.
It's still blurred.
No.
Nope, still blurred.
No.
Okay, that's a little less blurred. Nope, still can't see it now. I can only see your hands. Nope, there it is. Stop right there. Daddy Longlegs and the Inchworm. Beautiful.
Yes. From Pancake Images.
Mm-hmm.
The creator of the book is Bryce Bullock. The illustrator is Demetrius Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
It's a father and son team. I believe Bryce was around like 11 or something when they started this book. His dad is a fantastic artist, and his son wanted to write a comic book, and he was just like, yeah, let's go for it. You write it, I'll draw it, we'll put out. I believe they have about 5 issues out now.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's easy to get to. You can get it from the comic book shop, which is my #1 favorite comic book store. So, hi Sarah, Titus, and everyone there.
Hello!
I don't know why I'm waving, because you don't know about this podcast, and I'm gonna feel kind of weird if I just send this to you just so you can be like, hey, I shout you guys out at the end.
I'll just post just this clip of you saying their names with no context.
With no context. And it'll be just like, great, we all understand this thing that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can get it there. There's some other comic book shops in like Philly. Atomic City Comics, I think you can get it there. I could be wrong. Or you can actually purchase it on Amazon. But the fact that you have, he's teenage now. But the fact you have a young kid writing his own comic book, which is something I could only dream of doing at that age, or even now, because fuck, if I sat down to try to write a comic book, I'd be like, I don't know. No.
I would love to write a comic book.
Yes, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yes.
But just I don't want to say I couldn't do it.
Oh, you could do it.
I don't think I could do it to a level that I'd be happy with.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the fact that he's writing, this is his one series. I think he has Pancakes After Dark, which is like an anthology series that he's also started up. Just a very creative family, awesome family. I love them all. The son, the father, the wife. Like, every time I talk to them, they are so incredibly kind, and I really enjoy getting to meet them. I actually met them at the comic book shop on a I think it was Free Comic Book Day a couple years ago. And they were dressed in the outfits from the comic, and I was dressed up like Luke Cage, and we got a picture together, and it was awesome.
Nice.
But it's been a friendship ever since, and I just want to get the word out about them. You know, have people, you know, because who knows where he could go. He could keep doing. He could keep doing. Bryce could keep doing independent comics. He could, you know, wind up writing for like a big company if he wants to. Like the sky is the limit, and I just want to see that family do well. So, Bullock family, love you guys, and just want to make sure that I get the word out about Daddy Long Legs and the Inchworm.
All right.
So.
Excellent. Well, with that, there's only one more thing to do. And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and...
Misinterpreting all the movies that you've seen. You might not have seen all the movies we're misinterpreting.
This song still goes hard.
That's alright, that's okay. You're really smart, and that's fair play. Misinterpreting.
Let's see if we can do a trap remix of this.
Movies that you've seen. You might not have seen all the movies we're misinterpreting. That's alright, that's okay. You're really smart, and that's fair play. Misinterpreting.
Okay.
Weird fact that Tyrice doesn't want you guys to know, but seriously, we told us to take a wrong turn down a one-way street that had oncoming traffic and try to kill us before we
You
went
know
to
what?
go see
Call me an
Fall Out
event
Boy.
moderator because I have control over your mic volume. Whoop! They can't hear you. All right, but before we leave for good, I want to try something, and I want to see how many of these I can get through in one breath. Ready for this?
Oh no. No.
Wiener sauce, wank paste, wank puss, wad, trouser gravy, throat yogurt, tail juice, tadpoles, string of pearls, squiggle, spunk, spume, spratch, splooge, splashback, spew, spending, spaff, soap, snake spray, slime, sink bubble, scum, schlong jelly, salad dressing, rude glue, pudding, pube solvent, protein shake, population paste, pole milk. That's all I got. How many was that? Did you count?
I didn't count.
All right, let's do it again.
Can you do that faster?
Let's try it again a little faster.
Did you not get that reference? Oh my god.
Nah, baby, I can't do it that fast, but I know someone who can. Crud, custard, daddy sauce, dong, water, erectile pie, some base cream, fish dip, flour, water, fruit tea, sponge gel, gentleman's rose, glue, happy trails. I can't do it anymore. I think we could just end it there. Layonnaise. Layonnaise.
What the fuck is layonnaise?
Layonnaise. Oil of Ulay. Okay, one more. Oyster droppings. Goodbye, everybody. So long. Farewell. This is the end. Bye.
Poop. Poop. Butthole. Poop. Poop comes out of a butthole. 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 Booty hole. Yeah, I ran out of like stupid stuff to say now. Hosting on your own is horrible.